Welcome to the Sandhills Baptist Association podcast with Don Cherry, sharing stories of churches working together for the gospel.
Well, good morning. This is Don from the Sandhills Baptist Association here in Carthage, North Carolina. And thank you for joining us on this time of podcast together as we are attempting to highlight local ministries that maybe we don't often think about and such. We have an idea of ministry that's maybe church related and everything, but there are often a number of ministries out there that are parachurch related, but yet working to similar goals. And today we want to introduce a ministry called Immigrant Hope. And we have Tamara Forey that is with us today. And I think you're the executive director.
I am.
Of that, executive director. Thanks for being with us.
Well,
we
thank
appreciate
you for the
that
invitation.
much.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
So if you could give us just a thumbnail this morning of what Immigrant Hope entails, because when we think of immigration, it's a big topic.
It
is.
In
our culture today. And as we were talking a little bit before, people have this idea of illegal, legal, what all is in between. Maybe we don't know, but share a little bit about what Immigrant Hope is all about.
Thanks. Yeah, so first, thank you for the invitation. So as you said, my name's Tamara Forey. I am the executive director of Immigrant Hope Sandhills. Immigrant Hope is actually a national organization that was started 20 years ago by the E-Free Church out in Minnesota. They recognized a need twofold. One, that a lot of Latinos, Hispanic immigrants were not being served by the churches in America. And two, they were often being taken advantage of by attorneys in doing the immigration process, because it is very complicated. So they felt in their heart that they needed to start this ministry that is threefold. First, our mission is to share the hope of the gospel, also to help them with legal processes if they qualify, and then to try to find them a home in a church that will help them continue to do life. So we are a faith-based nonprofit organization. There are currently 15 centers throughout the United States. Most are in the West and Midwest. We are the only center in North Carolina. And it was the vision of a pastor at CCC about 8 years ago, that because of a situation that one of our members was going through in getting his immigration papers, that felt this is an opportunity for us to serve our immigration community in Moore County, because there were no organizations at that time. So they started it back in about 2017, started the process. Then COVID hit. So the center never really got opened until 2021.
Right.
So just a little bit of background. You're right. Everybody goes, well, how do you do this? Well, all Immigrant Hope centers are certified and accredited by the Department of Justice. So this is a government approved program. You have to go through rigorous trainings, classes on hands training in order for the Department of Justice to certify you, not only the center, but the individuals offering the legal aid. We currently have 3 accredited representatives in our center, myself and 2 volunteers, that can offer low-cost legal aid services to immigrants, not just Hispanics, but any immigrant. I know we tend to think that most immigrants are Hispanic, but the statistics show that only about half of the immigrants in the United States actually come from Latino, South and North American countries. A lot of them come from India, from African nations, and Asia. So there's a huge mix of immigrant population within the United States. Like I said, unfortunately, both illegal, undocumented, and documented immigrants. So our legal aid services, we can help legal immigrants, and I want to emphasize that legal, because people say, well, you're helping a lot of illegals.
Right.
And we can't, because we are basically a government certified agency. We have to follow all the immigration laws when we are helping someone, because we are helping them send applications into the government, to USCIS, for either green cards or citizenship, or renewing DACA, some of those things. And so these applications all go to government agencies. So you have to have a legal pathway to be able even to think that they're going to be approved. So that's where we come in. Now, we do not turn anyone away that walks through our doors. We listen to their stories. We will pray with them. And if we can help them, we will. But if we can't, what we will do is we will tell them very honestly, we cannot help you, but here are the steps you can take for us to be able to help you maybe down the road. And most of that involves returning home for a period of time. So we serve, right now, we've got maybe 20, 25 cases in our office pending different avenues with the government or just now getting started. So people come in, they tell us your story. You may already have your green card and you've decided you want to become a citizen of the United States. You feel that is the next step. Well, you have to have your green card for at least 3 to 5 years before you can even consider that.
Okay.
And so we give them materials to study for the civics exam. We can help them fill out their applications to submit to the government and sort of walk them through all the steps that it's going to take. And what a lot of people go, well, where all these people come from? You've got to think of immigrants that are in the country. They're here on student visas. They're here on work visas. They're here on tourist visas. So probably a good, I wouldn't say a third of your technology workers, high-tech professional, are immigrants. So they've come over to work. They've signed a contract to come over to work, and they may decide that they want to stay in the United States. Well, they have to move from being a work visa to applying for a green card, which is an adjustment of status, which then categorizes them to a legal permanent resident. So they can then still live in the United States. They still can't vote, and they can't do a lot of other things that citizens have the rights to do, but it gives them the right to live in the United States, to work in the United States. They all file taxes, and so forth. So there are a lot of immigrants here in the United States that may want to take that next step to stay here permanently. And that's where we can step in and help. The other great thing about the Department of Justice program is it requires you or us to offer either low cost or no cost legal aid help to at least 20% of our budget.
Okay.
The reason being is they also recognize that attorneys can charge whatever fees they want and can often take advantage of immigrants or people in general because they need their services, they're desperate, and they're willing to pay whatever they want to charge them.
Right.
So this program was intended to help immigrants get professional help that they needed at a cost that they could afford, or if they couldn't afford it, free services. So we have to send reports in to the Department of Justice every few years about how many clients we've served, how many of them were low cost, and what did you charge them to make sure that we are operating within their guidelines. And if not, they can take our certification away.
The question that I had about this, because like I said, immigration is such a hot topic right now, especially we're coming up to the midterm elections, and 2 more years there's going to be another, election there, and this is going to be right at the top, if not the top 3, issues on that. So you've described those who have come across on work visas or student visas and everything like that. In other words, they had to make applications somewhere, I guess in their country, in the U.S. Embassy, whatever, in order to do that. So they are basically been approved by the State Department and everything to come over, Department of Justice, however, government's working. The question, obviously, is these that came across the river, or across the border without such as like that. And while we can have in some ways, I think maybe rightfully a negative attitude on that because you didn't come the right way, there are probably some of those that have come that they are looking for they want to get out of a country that's depressed and dictatorial and such as like that and all. These would be people that you would have to refer elsewhere?
So yes, so and that's what's heartbreaking. Yes, there are a lot of undocumented immigrants in the United States. And I'll be honest, a lot of them have been here for years and years. And you're right, they are looking to escape cartels. They are looking to escape persecution because some are Christians and they're escaping because of their religious beliefs. They are escaping governments that just want to take over their land and so forth. As I heard recently, Colombia, the governments are just going in and taking the land that they want. And the landowners object, they end up killing them. So there's a lot of people that are fleeing to the United States to protect them and their families.
Right.
And most of them was talking about, he said, we came here looking for a better life for our families because we knew we didn't have that where we lived and we feared for our lives. There are opportunities like that if we hear that and they have documentation to show that their fear, they fled in fear of their life, there are ways that they might be able to apply for asylum. Now, I will say in recent years that has not been as easy to do.
Right.
But it is a legal pathway that they have that Congress set up. It's in the immigration laws. And that's what's so heartbreaking with, I hate to say it, with the climate now within the United States and all the news and all the dissertations about immigration, is that there are a lot of people that have a legal right to do what they're doing. Even though a lot of the news says they don't. So that's very hard. So when people come in, we try to explain to them, these are your legal rights. If you have some, these are your avenues. But yes, there are instances where people have come in that have not been inspected at the border,
Right.
have not gotten a visa through their consulate, and we will pray with them because it's our Christian duty. These are God's children, just like we are.
Sure.
It's not my position to judge these people for how they're trying to live. But we will tell them what their options are, and the majority of them entail, in order for them to have a legal pathway, they are going to have to return to the country that they fled, which is very heartbreaking to tell them that. And we pray with them and let them go out the door, and then it's their choice on what they do. We do not report to police. We that's not our job.
Right.
Our job is, even as Christians, because we are faith-based, is to treat everyone with dignity and compassion, and try to point them towards Jesus. And then if we can help them legally, we do. The other heartbreaking, when clients finally do come to see us and they've been here for years, and we're starting to hear more stories about where I went to an attorney 4 or 5 years ago and paid them $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000.
Right.
And they never submitted my
Nothing's
application,
happened.
or they didn't submit the application. So now what do we do?
I don't,
And that's the heartbreaking piece that we have.
I don't mean to be facetious when I say this and everything, but that's why attorneys often have, and we have some good Christian attorneys, don't get me wrong, that are working. We have a partnership with Alliance Defending Freedom. They're Christian attorneys. They're working like that, but that's a reason I think that attorneys often are referred to as bottom feeders, kind of thing, just because of situations like that. What you're talking about, they're taking advantage of, people that are just trying to have a better life, and actually, I would say even save their life, because as you mentioned, many of these countries are coming from, they're ruled by tyrants, they're ruled by cartels, and they think nothing of just killing you and taking what you have.
Right.
And how tragic that is. And that's probably a whole nother political avenue on itself, with the way things are done, with diplomacy, if you want to call it that. I think my interest, like I said, in exposing something like this, when I say exposing, I'm sorry, I should have used a different word, letting people know that a ministry like this exists and such, is to help clarify, I think, a lot of misunderstanding about immigration that's out there. I mean, I go back to my dad's side of the family, and his grandparents and all were immigrants. Here they came over from Europe, around World War II, World War I, I'm sorry, to get away from that, to come to America. Of course, they came Kelly's Island or Ellis Island, I should say. Came, that was the way you came, and they did everything they had to do. And I think and I know this is an issue for me, where you're right, we're all God's creation, like that, and all entitled to that dignity of that life and such. But I know my great-grandparents came over and they assimilated. They learned the language, they understood the culture, and doing like that. And there's a number of those that are not doing that. And I think that causes a lot of issue and can cause a lot of wrong negativity, that takes away from those who are doing right. Yeah. All the attention's put here.
Yes. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I compare it to when I worked in corporate. Our employee handbook when I came to work was maybe a half an inch thick. By the time I left, it was probably 5 inches thick. Oh my. Because all your rules, all your policy are always made for the 10% that don't want to follow the rules. Right. Not the 90% that are doing things the right way. And I think of immigration in the same way. There are, I don't care what culture you're in, whether you're American, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're African American, there's always going to be that percentage that don't want to do things the right way, that want to break the law. And unfortunately, that 10%, and I use that 10%, are the ones that people want to focus on. And then categorize the entire culture by that 10%, not by the 90% that are simply here working, raising great families, getting into the churches, and becoming part of the society. So we also offer another service that we offer free ESL classes. Oh. Because there are a number of Hispanics in the area that want to learn English. We heard in our last semester in the spring that some of them have jobs, but they want to move into different positions within the company. So they're wanting to improve their English to be able to speak better with customers and understand. So there are a lot that are choosing to improve their skills, not only English skills, but work skills, so forth, to better themselves, to be able to have better jobs within the companies that they work for. So there are a lot of good people trying to assimilate and want to become part of the American culture. If I could ask you real quick, I remember, I'm probably going back in high school, back in the 70s, like that. I can remember in civics class, government class, whatever like that, immigration was there. And there was at that time, there's a set number of those who the United States would let in. Anything as immigrants, I mean, obviously you can't let millions and millions and millions in, it just overfloods everything. Is that still something that's in place, or? There are, every year the government issues a certain number of work visas that they will allow in, and they normally issue them in 6-month increments. Because a majority of your agriculture workers, your migrant workers, are immigrants. So employers can apply for work visas for 6 months and bring them over, work, and then they go home at the end of that time period. So there is a certain number of those visas that they enter. There are a certain number of visas they will issue for certain countries. There's like 5 countries that are out there that they only issue so many visas per year for. And once they reach that maximum, then no more are issued. But, and so a lot of times you can get accepted for like your high tech companies and so forth
Sure.
have exceptions, but
Sure.
just for normal visas, yeah, there are certain numbers that they will allow in from certain countries.
Yeah.
Certain countries have a higher number of allowances than others. So
Okay.
yeah, that is
Okay.
the case.
Well, we got the signal. We just have a couple more minutes and all. So, Tamara, if you could just, somebody viewing would like to find more information,
Okay.
or get involved, something with Immigrant Hope and everything, how would they do so?
Absolutely. So we do have a website. It's ihsandhills.org. Our telephone number is 910-756-1490. Our client and general email is ihsandhills@gmail.com. We would love for people to call, ask questions. We only have 2 staff people. We work total of about 47, 50 hours a week, so we're really both part-time and a core volunteer. So we're always looking for more volunteers. For the ESL classes, for tutors, we're getting ready to start our fall session. We would love to start a civics exam prep class for citizenship. Would love some people that would be willing to step up and help that. A couple of fundraising events every year. If you just want to volunteer for one thing and be done, we've got a couple of those a year. And the other thing, and I'm going to throw this out, we're like any other nonprofit. I categorize us as missionaries on the field. We have to raise all of our own support because only 20% of our budget can come from client fees. So if people are interested in learning more and wanting to donate either one time or on a monthly basis, we would love to have that, because that dictates how many services we can offer to our clients. Because we still have all the expenses, we don't, charge for the ESL classes, the books, or anything else. So those opportunities are always there. So yeah, I'd love for somebody to get in touch, come out the office, visit with us, see what we're all about.
And you're located where?
We are located in Southern Pines.
Okay.
If they want to email me or call, I will be glad to give out the address.
Right.
The reason we do that is to protect our clients.
Okay. Understood.
We are located in a church. A local church has offered us housing.
Okay.
But we don't really publicize our address because we don't want law enforcement sitting outside the road.
Gotcha.
And keeping clients from being safe coming to see us. Even those that are here legally are very fearful of law enforcement.
Sure.
So, of just being detained or whatever. Because a lot of the stories that you hear in the news about people being here illegally being detained are happening, even in Moore County. So we don't really give out our address, broadcast it. But if they're interested, website has it, telephone number, email, and we will set up a meeting. Because our offices are locked, because we're not there all the time, and just for safety wise, as all churches have now. So it would have to be by appointment anyway.
Very good.
So we do it that way.
Okay. Well, Tamara, thanks for being with us today and filling us in on what is a tremendously vital ministry, in this culture. Maybe 50 years ago, there wouldn't have been a lot of need for it and everything, but there definitely, is a need for it today. And I think we appreciate the work that you're doing. Thanks for joining us today. This is Don Cherry from the Sandhills Baptist Association. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. For more information or to leave a comment, you can reach us at 910-947-2238 or send an email to sandhills@sandhillsbaptist.org.